Open Public Meetings Act, please.
Adequate notice of this meeting of the Pinelands Commission is given in compliance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act by providing notice to all municipal and county clerks in the Pinelands area and to the Secretary of State on April 24, 2015, and to the Commission's officially designated newspapers on April 24, 2015, by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the Commission's office.
Thank you very much. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Ashman? Here. Commissioner Avery?
Here.
Commissioner Barr?
Here.
Commissioner Brown?
Here.
Commissioner Tabella?
Here.
Commissioner Erlin?
Here.
Commissioner Galetta?
Here.
Commissioner Fanarum? Commissioner Lloyd?
Here.
Commissioner Lynchie? Commissioner Prickett?
Here.
Commissioner Quinn?
Here.
Commissioner Rowley Green? Commissioner Witt?
Here.
Chair Lombardo.
Here. Thank you. All right, would you all please rise and join me?
Darcy, I just want to make sure, could you hear the roll being called? Hello? Hello? I think she's gone.
All right, we'll get it.
Hello?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, yes, I could hear that. It was very slight.
Okay. We're about to pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, my colleagues have all received copies of the minutes of our last meeting of April 10th, 2015, both open and closed session. I hear a motion for their adoption.
I move to approve the April 10th, 2015 minutes.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of either set of minutes? All in favor of their adoption, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I abstain.
Commissioner Witt abstains. All right.
I'll abstain as well.
Commissioner Avery also. The minutes are adopted. We have a few items of business that do not show on the agenda. I'd like to prepare before we move forward. First off, I'd like to welcome Sean Moriarty as our new Deputy Attorney General here today. I'm sure you'll recognize there's a different sounding voice during the regular Open Public Meeting Act. Anyway, welcome, Sean. It's great to have you here. All right, next, I have the great pleasure of recognizing a few of our employees this morning for their length of service. First, our good friend Betsy Piner is being awarded a plaque for 20 years of dedicated service to the New Jersey Pinelands Commission. Amazing considering that she's only 32. She began her employment on May 1st, 1995. She is the Principal Planning Assistant in our Land Use and Technology Office. In that capacity, she has prepared minutes for 235 P&I committee meetings, scheduled hundreds of public hearings, and helped numerous property owners through the limited practice use acquisition process. In 2011, Betsy became the administrative assistant with a PBC bank, a new role that she embraced with her usual enthusiasm. Betsy's willingness to assist the commissioners, staff, and public is unmatched and greatly appreciated by all. And I will add, she's a great fan of tennis, which is a plus in my book. All right, so anyway, we have a plaque here. Anything to say?
Oh, this is quite elaborate, my goodness. A slip of paper is all I would have needed. But I've been honored to have worked and served with so many talented and dedicated employees, staff. The public has been fabulous to work with. Anytime that I can help somebody through the process, whatever it is, I feel like I'm learning it myself. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to work here. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. And that's not all. Michelle Russell joined the Commission as the Human Resources Specialist on May 16, 2005. Michelle not only handles all personnel matters, she's also the person staff go to see, complain, to ask for help, cry, vent about everything, anything and everything. Michelle chairs the Commission Conflict Resolution and Communication Committee, where employees discuss work-related issues and they try to solve problems. Prior to joining the commission, Michelle was a project specialist in the Human Resources Department for Montclair Township. Michelle earned an MBA in Management and an MA in Diplomacy and International Relations from Seton Hall University. She holds a bachelor's in Business Administration from the College of New Jersey. Michelle is very involved with the foundation she created to address the needs of premature babies and their families. She spends much of her time with her two daughters, Emma and Alyssa. Michelle, if you would come forward, you received your plaque for 10 years of dedicated service.
Thank you so much. I can't believe it's been 10 years. It seems really, it just happened the other day. So time really does fly. I want to thank everyone I work with for being with me. While I was here, I've had some ups and downs, and I want to thank everybody. And best wishes to everyone. Thank you.
You didn't even know we had an international relations specialist. And we've got everything. There you go. Okay. We also have a gentleman on the list who we are recognizing today. Paul Lakin began his employment on May 30th, 2005. He serves as the Commission's spokesman, webmaster, as we're about to see today, photographer, and director of communications and publications. Most recently, he oversaw the creation of the Commission's new website and co-authored, edited, and designed the 4th Plan Review Report. Paul was also instrumental in creating the Bob Garden on the Commission grounds. Paul was a newspaper reporter for nearly 10 years prior to joining the Commission. He won first place awards for responsible journalism and governmental reporting from the New Jersey Press Association and the West Virginia Press Association. Paul loves dogs, gardening, and brewing craft beer, something which he's never seen fit to bring beer to all of us. Anyway, he has been playing blues harmonica for very long. Wow. Okay, 30 years.
I've never heard of harmonica than the beer.
Oh, both. That'd be a party. It's a one-man party right here. And he has been in numerous bands. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Journalism from West Virginia University. So, Paul, can you come forward and receive your... And you knew enough to leave newspapers before they crashed.
Gotta get some of that beer.
The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I want to thank my employees as well. It's been an interesting 10 years. I'm proud of a lot of the projects we've been able to complete over the years, and I'm equally as proud of the friends that I've made here.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, I'm ready to adjourn. I mean, that's right. No, wait, I'm sorry. There's an agenda. All right, let's go forward with the chair reports. Stand, Commissioner Ashman, you have a report.
Yes, I do have a report from the new MOA Policy Advisory Committee. We met on, I don't remember what day, last P&I meeting. But we did come up with we're trying right now to explore the committee and the staff's and everybody and the public's concerns about the MOA, if they have some. So the primary list that we started with from this year is what entities are appropriate applicants for an MOA, what agencies provide the basic needs of the community, what is a compelling public need, what are the geographic limits of a public purpose for which an MOA is considered, what constitutes an equivalent level of protection. The commission needs to be involved early in the process. The 10-day hearing notice is inadequate, too short. Should the commission be concerned with the cost of an alternative to an MOA? All these things will be on the table and much more. That was only our first go at this. The next meeting will be a meeting without the public and with our staff. We'll be having we'll go around with the staff on May 29th after the BNI. Following the meeting, an outline of the issues will be prepared again, and we'll go back to the public meetings, and then we'll be working from there. This is going to be a very hard job, and I hope we can do it quickly and efficiently. So I dream a lot. Anyway, that's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any commissioners have any questions or comments for Commissioner? I see none. Move on. Commissioner Avery, you have a report for personnel budget?
I do. The committee met on the 28th of April. We adopted the minutes from the February 3rd, 2015 meeting. The committee reviewed with Nancy Wittenberg and Jessica Lynch the January, February, and March check registers, our electronic disbursements, and our application fees, which are running a little ahead of our projections, which is a good thing. There was a discussion regarding different types of generators for a potential purchase to keep our commission functioning in emergencies. I think the goal of the committee is to see if we can afford a natural gas-powered generator adequate to run this building for an extended period. There are fueling issues, maintenance issues, and particularly noise issues with diesel generators, even though they're a little cheaper, so we're still looking into those costs. Michelle Russell provided an update on employee actions. There were also discussions on potential changes for the commission's dental insurance for its employees, the possibility of paving the parking lot or some portion thereof, the painting of Fenwick Manor, if anyone notices Fenwick Manor's in difficult condition.
Looking for volunteers for that?
Looking for money for that. And notifying everybody, and we want to notify everyone that the auditors have begun the annual audit again. Seems like we just finished, and we're back in line. Lastly, Commissioner Prickett specifically wanted to recognize our Executive Director, Ms. Wittenberg, for going above and beyond the call of duty, and feels that she does not get recognized often enough for her efforts, and I would endorse that as well. And I asked that that be put in so that I could say it publicly at this meeting. Then we met in closed session, and we have an item, I guess, that we'll discuss later on in this meeting in closed session that resulted from our meeting. That's it.
Any commissioners with questions or comments for Commissioner Avery? Simply like to add my thanks for you adding that to your minutes and to agree that we all should recognize the efforts of our staff, our Executive Director. He does always go above and beyond, and salute you for that. Thank you. Okay, now I know we had a historic first meeting of the Agricultural Committee. Commissioner Glancy is chair of that committee, but he's not available today. Commissioner Glancy, you have a report?
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Pleased to announce that we had our new and improved Agricultural Committee meet on May 1st. The committee agreed that its initial focus should be on the development of a pilot program dealing with special events and other activities that occur on farms. The committee is not likely to meet monthly, rather periodically, as issues arise. However, the next meeting will be in June in order to accommodate the staff schedule to update the Senate Economic Development Committee on progress towards a new pilot program. The next meeting has been scheduled Tuesday, June 16th. That's all I have on this.
Okay. Any comments or questions from other commissioners?
I'd like to comment that I think it'd be useful if everybody went back and looked at the pilot program regular rules, because I think there's some misunderstandings in places about that. So the CMP has a set program, and I think
For all pilot programs.
it never hurts to look again.
What time is said meeting on the 16th?
9:30.
9:30. Probably I'll call in on that meeting. That's going to be real close to harvest.
No, harvest time.
So I'll be calling in.
Okay, no, she got blue shirt on, blue
But
collar.
harvest look is.
I'd like to go off agenda for one more moment, since today seems to be a day that we're recognizing, people for their fine activities here. I'd like to take note that last night, Commissioner Gillette was recognized by his own community as Citizen of the Year for all of the things that he does, including his service here, but so much more for the community of Hamilton Township. And I'd just like to congratulate you publicly again for that, Commissioner Gillette, and say how much we appreciate the fact that you're here working with us, so thank you. Okay, there's one more committee report, that's the Policy Implementation Committee. If you will indulge me, our committee adopted the minutes from our March 27th meeting at our last meeting of April 24th. We asked the staff to begin developing language for a rule proposal designed to provide greater protection to the Black Run watershed. The rule proposal would expand the forest area in Eacham Township by some 4,000 acres and authorize a new off-site clustering pilot program that would allow sewer residential development in a designated development area, a regional growth area, if lands in a designated conservation area, forest area, are protected. So the staff is now at work putting those rules together. The committee discussed issues related to the Commission's hiring of consultants to perform threatened and endangered species surveys versus having such consultants hired by the applicants. We had a very lively debate about that issue, and I know that that issue is far from being disposed of. I'm sure we'll have more conversations about it. As is an ongoing question about what's the most appropriate way to examine the question of whether threatened and endangered species are in a project that are affected by an application. So we'll continue that discussion here. And that was the extent of our meeting. Entertain any questions, comments from the commissioners on that? Thank you. Seeing none, we'll move forward. We'll turn it over to the Executive Director for her report.
Thank you. We had a meeting, staff, with DEP, with representatives from the cyber mediation LSRP program, because we've been encountering glitches since they went to the LSRP program with how we implement that here. It was a great meeting. DEP had everybody at the table we needed to have there. We cleared up a lot of things. We identified a lot of things. We'll continue to have discussions with them, but I think now we're on a better path to make sure that we're coordinating correctly with their new rules. So that's good. Susan and I have continued to have small meetings with different representatives to discuss the pilot program. We'll be feeding that information back to the committee. Those meetings have been very informative and really interesting. We're learning a lot, and everybody's got their own little piece of the pie as always. So those have been going well, except we're sort of overwhelmed now. Which is what happens when you open the door and start asking these big open-ended questions. But it's been really good. The only other thing I want to mention is because Paul Gillette won't. I was at the event last night. It was a beautiful event. There were a lot of people there. Apparently, a lot of people really like Commissioner Gillette.
Give them blueberries.
He would never tell you that, but it was really very impressive and very lovely, and it was a really lovely night for you. So, and it was good for the Pinelands Commission. They got mentioned a lot, and there weren't a lot of boos when they said it. But it was really very lovely, and it was good.
Thank you.
Just a couple things I want to mention. I've been researching the issues of PDCs and enhancements and things like that for the last couple of years. We had some meetings a couple of years ago, and we're starting meetings again with interested parties on how we can better address the PDC program. So I have New Jersey builders coming in very soon. We're going to start another round to see if we can come up with something that makes sense to people. Secondly, I want to mention in here, I don't know if you got a package of news articles. In that is a Mayor of Woodbine has been talking about the project that you were involved with. I think I mentioned it to you. We funded $20,000 to a project in Woodbine and Cape May to look at how they could handle wastewater. There's 3 interested parties to some extent. Cape May has a leachate as a landfill. Woodbine would like to get sewer so they can have some development occur there. And then the developmental center has its own treatment plant, and they are at least looking at something to be done jointly. The study was completed last fall. Cape May announced that it selected the alternative it would like to pursue, and that's the one that's in the newspaper article. It's basically a leachate collection interceptor, if you like, to go some 20-some miles, I don't know if the distance is correct, to hook into the Cape May system and take it to their treatment plant. Woodbine is excited about the potentiality of combining with that and certainly getting wastewater service to the town. So they're talking, and by sometime next January, they'll make a decision on what's the scope of the project, and they'll start the permitting process. I just wanted to mention to you, you were involved in the study. We're not actively involved right now. It's really the partners have to decide how and when and what they want to do, and then they have to go through a permitting process to see if they can make it work. The third thing I wanted to mention was staff have been meeting with Pemberton Township Board of Education. There's an elementary and middle school close to Fort Dix in the middle of the rural development area, surrounded by agricultural areas, and it has its own wastewater treatment plant. It isn't doing very well. And they would like to think about interceptor as a solution. Well, that creates all different kind of issues, if you like. How do we get sewer service there? Can we get sewer service there? How much will it cost? Things like that. So they will probably be coming back to P&I to discuss the options. The options are involve things like MOAs and things like that. So, but the issue is how do you continue sewer service at the school? But it's a little bit isolated, if you like. So I want to bring that up to you. That's an upcoming. That's all I have.
Any questions, Commissioner? Further director?
Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public. I just have 4 brief items I wanted to mention. The first is the staff, including their executive director, met with representatives of Burlington County and their engineering department on April 29th. Burlington County has been interested for quite some time in improving Taunton Road. For those of you not that familiar with Burlington County, it's a 2-lane county road that provides primary access to Kings Grant in Evesham Township. The issue that's being addressed is the road is almost entirely surrounded by wetlands, and it's a stormwater management issue of how to address stormwater management. It's been a long-standing issue for multiple years. At the conclusion of the meeting was the staff attempted to identify 2 alternatives. One would be provide stormwater retention right adjacent to the road that meets the Commission's regulations, and the second one would be in your regulations there's what we sometimes refer to as an exception or a mitigation, that for some reason a project cannot meet your stormwater management standard. It can provide for that stormwater management elsewhere nearby the project. There's some specific conditions, but they're reviewing both of those issues. I also wanted to note just a quick update on Tuckahoe Turf, that the staff issued a certificate of filing inconsistent. An application had previously been completed, if you may remember, for the Hamilton project. The applicant now completed their application to include Winslow and Waterford Township in that application. We issued what we refer to as an amended certificate of filing to include all 3 municipalities, and the certificate of filing indicated that the proposed project continued to be inconsistent with our rules. On May 20th, the staff will be meeting just an update with Stafford Township. This is another long-standing application that's proposing a stormwater management basin on the south side of Route 72 across from Ocean Acres. Right now it's on a track for a compelling public need waiver that will ultimately make its way to the Commission for a decision. This application is proposed by the Township to address flooding that's occurring from pre-Pinelands development in Ocean Acres. And the last thing I just wanted to mention was that both the planning staff and the permitting staff at been working with Chemung Township, and in particular their mayor. The mayor's interested in locating a cell tower on some township-owned lands in Chemung, and the tower has to be consistent with the cell plans that have been approved by the commission. So the township is attempting to address the requirements of those approved cell plans. Those are the only 4 items I had.
Thank you, Director. Any questions for Director?
Yeah. Chuck, could you find a way to mark the applications that we're considering when they are to cure a violation?
In the report itself?
I know, but you gotta read it all.
No, yes is
You mean
the answer.
on the-
I'm just
on the
asking you,
resolution?
yes is the answer. Where would you like it marked?
I don't know, it just, they're all in the same package, so to speak, and I just think it'd be nice.
Maybe in the body of the resolution?
Yeah, in the body of the resolution.
Oh, yes, certainly.
And anywhere else you can do it, because
Yes.
you have to read it before you ever find out that it's a violation at all.
Anything else, Matt?
Morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to remind you all, for those of you who haven't filed your financial disclosure statements as of yet, the deadline for filing that document is next Friday. And as many of you know, the State Ethics Commission has the authority to issue a $50 a day penalty for every day that the filing is late. I'd rather not see anyone get hit with a penalty, so please mark down your calendar and make sure you file by May 15th.
Thank you.
Do we figure out where I am in that?
Yes, Commissioner Martin, because you're a new commissioner, you have until August 10th. I sent you an email on that.
Okay, yeah.
And next year, you will be part of the same cycle with everyone from May 15th, but under the conflicts of interest law, you have 180 days from the date that you were sworn in.
Now, I filed another one for another board. Is that okay? Or?
If you filed for another state board, that would be, it's the same form, so that would suffice. Why don't we talk later and I'll cover up what you need to do.
How about having some leniency for all people?
All people with money?
I hate doing it on the computer.
There is no leniency, but I'm sure that we can work out something to assist you. It's not our program, but I'll be happy. I'm sure Justin and I will be happy
Those
to
first
figure out
words
something
that
for
say
you.
you must do it online was killing.
If you divest of all those huge investments.
That's right, exactly. All you have to do is divest yourself. Anything further? Okay, we'll move forward with the agenda. Matters of commission consideration with regard is closed. Staff is recommending our approval of a resolution with conditions on 3 public development projects. One from the New Jersey State Forestry Service in Washington Township, road restoration project. The second one, Lenape Regional High School District for a 485 square foot building connected to Seneca High School. And the third one from Buena Vista Township, and this is what, as Commissioner
Excuse me,
Ashton.
Mr. Chairman, if I could. We subsequently broke the applications into 2 resolutions.
Oh, okay.
You should have a resolution in front of you that addresses the
Oh, thank you.
Buena Vista Township application separately.
Okay,
And
fine.
the Lenape School District. And
I should pay more attention.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Okay, thank you very much, Director. All right, strike that last one, not the, the resolution they're requesting that we approve is just for 2 development applications, State Forestry and Lenape Regional High School District. May I hear a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion of the motion?
I have a question about the Seneca High School application. Just a simple one with the addition. Talks about wastewater, and I'm assuming that wastewater, if there is wastewater, that building would go to their wastewater system as opposed to having a standalone septic system.
That is correct, Commissioner.
It's kind of clear there, but I just want to be sure about that. Thank you.
Any further comments? All in favor of the adoption of this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Actually,
And we have 1 abstention, Commissioner Gill. All right, that resolution is approved. Next, we have a resolution for another public development project. This one is a corrective resolution concerning the violation of projects that have gone into development without approvals here. And the staff is recommending that we now approve it ex post facto for Phoenix Vista Township. And may I hear a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if I may just spend a brief moment to
Sure.
outline the proposed development. It's been subject to extensive public comment. Just to orient everyone, we have a slide on the wall that shows a little bit about what's discussed in the public development application report. Note Route 40, the parcel that's subject of the application, which is the proposed tourist railroad station, is outlined in yellow. There's been much discussion about the parcel that's outlined in blue, which is the Richland Village Firehouse and a stormwater management basin that the commission staff has been wrestling with the township and members of the public over the last couple of years. So the tourist railroad station, most of it was built without application to the commission, and the application before you is intended to address that violation. Substantively, what's not built yet is a proposed stormwater management basin that will be located within the roughly rectangular area, the southern end of the rectangular area. I don't have the proposed stormwater basin will be right approximately in that area. Another stormwater basin is being constructed. It's more of a swale right adjacent. It's very small, adjacent to Route 40. This application is also intended to address a second violation. Sidewalks were installed along Route 40 in Phoenix Vista Township. That application was approved by the staff under the memorandum of agreement that we have with the township that the commission approved. There's conflicting reports of whether or not the stormwater management swales that were supposed to be constructed along with the sidewalk, I believe it was about 5,600 square feet of 5,600 linear feet of sidewalk. There's conflicting reports whether the stormwater management swales were installed, whether they were not installed, or whether they were installed and subsequently filled in. The bottom line is the swales are not there now. The sidewalk project constitutes a violation of your rules. This application will also address the second half of the sidewalk violation. The first half was addressed by another project that the commission approved, and the proposed tourist railroad station includes stormwater management facilities to address the sidewalk violation. I think I'll stop and be happy. We issued our recommendation. Oh, I'm sorry, there's one other point that I just wanted to touch upon. Most of the project is located in the Pinelands Village. The green area that you see on the slide is Pinelands Forest area. It's a little peculiar in that the Pinelands Forest area management area runs to the center line of that, what Paul is now identifying. Thank you, Paul. That's the railroad right-of-way. So you actually have the railroad right-of-way that is split by the village and the forest area management area down the center line. A small portion of the railroad track, they call it railroad siding, that was installed at the railroad station to get the train onto the track, was constructed in the forest area. Under the Pinelands rules, that's permitted as an accessory use to the existing rail line that predates us. We issued our report on the application for public development. Originally, we missed the fact that the forest area was part of the application. We subsequently issued the amended report that you should have in front of you now, dated April 8, 2015, that makes note of that small portion of the railroad tracks being located in the forest area. Upon issuance of our report, as provided for in that report, we received a request for an appeal, and I'd like Ms. Roth to address the appeal request, if she would.
We received a request for appeal from a property owner who lives in the forest area adjacent to that railroad siding, railroad right-of-way. In accordance with the Administrative Procedures Act, that request was reviewed to determine whether or not there was a statutory right or a particularized property interest sufficient to warrant the right to a hearing. It was
the applicant, or the requester submitted a timely appeal with regard to the initial public development report, and then when the corrective report was submitted, he submitted a second appeal, which, because the one appeal was pending, the matter, it really was not a new report, there was no new right to appeal that was created. However, the submittal, because there was an appeal pending, was considered as part of that appeal. So the totality of his issues were addressed as part of the appeal request. The matter was reviewed by myself and also in conjunction with the Attorney General's office, with Mr. Moriarty, and it was determined, in fact, that the property owner had not raised a statutory right or a property right sufficient to warrant a hearing, and therefore the appeal is denied.
And just for the record, Mr. Chairman, I would like to note that I spoke to a person by the name of Jamie Giordano, who is also a resident of Buena Vista Township. It's not clear in my telephone discussions with Ms. Giordano. She believes she filed a request for an appeal. We did not receive that request for an appeal. I discussed the matter with her by telephone, and another copy of the appeal was delivered to our office and delivered over the last couple of days. I just wanted to note that that's outside of the period that the 18 days that are provided for the appeal can be registered, but we had no record of receiving that appeal in a timely manner.
Thank you very much. Any comments or questions on this resolution?
I have a question, and that is, it really is a format question for these kinds of things. Are we to assume from your report that they've met all these conditions?
Yes, is the answer. Yes.
I think maybe it'd be a good idea to say so, because we get the report and the conditions under which it will be approved. Yeah, you don't know whether they did or they didn't. I'm assuming, or I did assume, that basically the staff has reviewed their activities and they meet the conditions. But I don't know that.
Yes, so just so we won't recount this topic.
For instance, the disposal of construction debris. We don't know where it went. And I'm only saying in the report, I'm not talking about this particular one. I'm just saying it's not clear when you read this report that indeed they have met that requirement.
I'm not really clear, Commissioner. You're back on the conditions on page 8.
Yeah, and you know there's a set of conditions, and they're the same for, and it does not tell me that in curing this violation, they've met those conditions.
Yes, in the future we will. I understand.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not picking on you.
No, that's okay.
Anyone else?
I'd like to ask just a general question, Chuck, on the forest area of Pinelands Village boundary that seems to go down the middle of the tracks, which I assume means the western rail is in the forest area and the eastern rail is in the Pinelands Village. On the existing tracks, if it runs down the center line.
The imaginary line runs down the center line of the right-of-way. The exact locations of the tracks, I don't know the answer to.
Okay. You don't know that it's a... It seems like a strange boundary line to me to administrate. Usually it's one side or the other. And we usually claim the greater side. I wonder, did we set the boundary or did the borough set the boundary? Susan, did you do it?
No, it was not me. Buena Vista was certified and these lines were drawn before I was here. So our imaginary lines generally, a lot of times follow roads. And we interpret the lines to follow the center line of the road. So one side's forest and the other side is rural development. We view the management area line for rural development goes to the center line, so the road is sort of split. The only time that we would say that the entire right-of-way
is covered is when you're on the boundary of the Pinelands area itself, for example. Like the Parkway is a good example, where the Parkway actually forms the boundary of the Pinelands area. We say that the Pinelands area extends to the entire right-of-way, not the center line. But imaginary line, they're often split like this, and it does create some interesting issues when you look at the maps, but that's typically our interpretation. The center line of the road is imaginary boundary. In this case, it's the center line of the railroad way. That's unusual.
But at some point, if the borough wanted to, they could come in and discuss a correction
Oh, of course.
in this case.
Of course.
Because it's not a statutory boundary,
Oh,
it's a
no,
management.
not at all. And, as you know, the villages are created out of the forest area or out of an agricultural production area, for example. So, of course, any town, they could come in and adjust the boundary, request an adjustment. The commission would have to approve that, but that could occur.
I was just curious how it
Yeah.
worked.
Learned something. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Anyone else? I just wanted to make one other point. The staff noted toward the end of the comments that this was not appropriate to send back to P&I committee for review. However, they point out that this does not preclude the Commission's P&I committee from discussing the generic issue of public agencies undertaking development projects in the Pinelands area without prior application to the Commission. And I agree. I think that would be a good generic issue for the P&I committee to discuss. I'm not suggesting that we add it to the agenda for May 29th, but at some point in the future when staff would be for this presentation, I think it would behoove us as commissioners that this is a nagging issue for us. This is not the only time that a project has proceeded without benefit of prior application to the Commission. And we are very frustrated when that happens. It's great to see that this particular one is being corrected. But yeah, I do think the P&I committee should look into that and see, is there something that we could do better to address that situation. So Madam Director, I agree with the recommendation. We'll talk about putting it on the P&I agenda sometime. Okay, any other discussion of this resolution? All in favor of its adoption, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any? We have one abstention. Commissioner. All right, the resolution carries. Okay. Next, we have public comment on agenda items that are pending. There are 3 development applications that are pending approval. One is from Shan Township, installation of a synthetic turf athletic field. The second one from Buena Vista Township, proposed improvements at Michael Denny Park. Again, another after the fact correction application. And then the third one, Hamilton Township, demolition of single family dwelling. So if there's anyone from the public who wanted to comment on any of those issues, now would be the time. Seeing no one, we'll move on. Next, we have a special resolution, as I said today, was a day of recognition. And I would like to take the unusual step of reading the full resolution into the record and then asking for a motion in a second on this. This is a resolution expressing the Commission's appreciation to Robert Jackson for his service as a member of the Commission between June 2008 and March 2015. Whereas Robert Jackson was first appointed by Governor John Corzine on June 12, 2008 and served on the Pinelands Commission with great distinction until March 2015. And whereas during his tenure as Commissioner, Mr. Jackson served on the Policy Implementation Committee, the Public and Governmental Programs Committee, the Permanent Land Protection Committee, and the Plan Review Committee. And whereas during Mr. Jackson's tenure, the Commission strengthened the Pinelands Protection Program by adopting 11 amendments to the Pinelands Comprehensive Management Plan. And whereas during Mr. Jackson's tenure on the Permanent Land Protection and Policy and Implementation Committees, the Commission helped to permanently preserve more than 7,000 acres of land in the Pinelands area through the allocation of $9.6 million from the Pinelands Conservation Fund. And whereas Commission members are unpaid volunteers And Mr. Jackson devoted hundreds of hours of his time and logged more than 23,000 miles driving to and from commission and committee meetings. Of course, his fault for living in Cape May County. And whereas Mr. Jackson's passion for preserving the Pinelands was clearly evident during his deliberations as a commissioner, and whereas the members of the commission want to recognize Mr. Jackson's significant contributions and express their appreciation for the service that he performed, now therefore be it resolved that the members of the Pinelands Commission assembled at the Richard J. Sullivan Center for Environmental Policy and Education on this 8th day of May 2015 do hereby express our appreciation to our colleague and friend, Robert Jackson, for his commitment to the Pinelands and for his service as a member of the Commission between June of 2008 and March 2015. May I hear it? We have multiple seconds.
Second.
Okay. Is there any comment? Commissioner?
I'd like to say that with Commissioner Jackson, he was always open to conversation about the issues, interaction, and coming up with other ideas to address the issues. So he's a very friendly guy, always willing to talk about the Pinelands and his experiences, and I'm really pleased to see that he's been at a number of our meetings, and I hope he continues to come. He continues to be a valuable asset to the commission.
Mr. Chair, I thought Commissioner Jackson was most interested in all our opinions, and I thought that was his greatest asset. And I still miss him, and I thought he had the ability to really enjoy and absorb all of our ideas. And he wasn't myopic, and I think that's what I would like to strive to do better myself.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Well, I'll simply add that I think Commissioner Sprague and Glenn said it extremely well. Obviously, whenever Commissioner Jackson engaged in a debate, you knew that all the issues were going to be covered, that every possible stone was going to be unturned, and that there would be a thorough and thoughtful and courteous discussion of all the issues, and I too benefited by his example there. And I'm very, very proud and happy to endorse this resolution. So, without further ado, all in favor of the adoption of this resolution, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? The resolution passes. Congratulations.
Real quick, now that I'm sitting on this side,
yes.
I don't have to worry about how people perceive you guys and ladies. So don't take it personal if I happen to say something that kind of rubs you the wrong way.
I fully expect that. Well said. Thank you. Okay. Now, there were 4 ordinances in our package that do not require commission action. This is my practice. I always invite comment, questions from the commissioners on any of those. If anyone would have anything to say about any of them right now, feel free. None? All right, we'll move on then. We have a presentation, and I think the public is really going to enjoy this. We're very proud to announce to you this week the Commission's new website went into effect. Largely, all the staff were involved, but largely guided by Paul Bacon, and we're going to hear a presentation from him now about it. So Paul, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. We're happy to be here today. As Chairman Lilbauer mentioned, we went live with the website on Monday. As many here may know, the Commission has had 3 websites in its history. It's been 10 years since we last overhauled and redesigned our website. At that time, when we put out our last site, we were the guinea pig for the state's new website system. So many things have changed since then. We felt it was time to get moving, and so we did that. And we're here today able to show our new site 2 months ahead of schedule, which I'm very proud of. And we're we're here to be able to do that thanks to all the work of all the people on our website committee, which is composed of many different members of our offices who scoured through hundreds of pages of our existing site and found things that we needed to either improve, remove, revamp, change, and enhance. So that's one reason. The other reason I want to give special credit to the State Office of Information Technology, who's our partner on this, in particular Carl Sebastian, the programmer, and Lara Edwards, the graphic designer. They were the most responsive group I've ever worked with. You send an email, they respond instantly. And that's pretty rare, and I think it's really important to note all their work on that.
They're not here, are they?
No, but they know. They're very professional. So we started this project, in actuality, last May when we conducted a survey of applicants, members of the public, officials, consultants, anyone we could find, to ask them what they like or dislike about our current site at the time. They told us they would like to have a website that's easier to use. They wanted to have a better mechanism to communicate with us. They also wanted us to do a better job showing how they can get to our meeting information in particular. It seemed like it was too hard to find it. Where's the agenda? Where's the meeting packet? So in building this new site, that's exactly what we focused on. We also felt it was really important, I think, two of the main goals as well, was to make the site much more interesting from a design standpoint, to inspire people, to show people this is a place that's special and worth protecting. The more people learn about the Pinelands, the more likely they'll want to protect it. So with that, I'm going to get started. So this is our home page. The first thing you'll notice, is the scrolling images up top. This was an idea we patterned off of the nj.gov website, and we have slideshows that we created. All of the images that you're going to see here were taken by our staff, primarily John Bonnell, our chief scientist, and these images scroll every 8 seconds, and we've created images for each season, two slideshows per season with 7 photos, so a total of 56 different images will be shown throughout the year. I'm going to change this setting here because it's a little too big. Okay. So the other thing we wanted to focus on was the headings up top. Previously, our old site had 13 headings. It was a little too unwieldy. What I'm talking about are the headings up here. So we narrowed those down to, I think, 9. Yes. And we also focused on providing people the information in an easier manner. So for example, in the old site, you were not able to see what lies beneath each section heading. With the new site, we have the ability to do scrollovers so that all the subsections come down. So if you were interested in finding out more information about commission members, you don't have to just guess where that might live. Now you can scroll down and see all of our commissioners and their photos. And I thought it was important to put photos on as well of commission members to provide a face with a name. We previously did not have that. It seemed like a no-brainer. The other thing that's advantageous about doing that is you get to the information much quicker, and you don't have to figure out, how do I get to, say, the CMP? Well, it's right here. So for the first time, you can download the CMP, our maps, our agendas, and other things right off the home page. That saves you between 1 and 3 clicks of the mouse. So you're getting things far easier than before. And that's only possible because of the new technology which allows us to do this. So I mentioned agendas right here under the new meetings section here on the home page. You can download the agendas from the home page and all of our packets. We just started last week, or about 2 weeks ago, posting all of the meeting packets for committees as well. We've got a lot of positive feedback about that. We think that's really important. We also have our new contact page, which contains information I'm going to talk about a little bit later, new form-based email system, which is really important. We're thinking this will lead to smoother communication transactions. People will include more of the information that we require them to include. For example, their full name. Previously, people could just say, hey, I'm whatever, and then they send something, and then you don't know who it is, and it's back and forth, figure out who's sending what. So that's another benefit. We also have, for the first time, a presentations icon, which gives us the ability to post all of the presentations that we have at all of our meetings, and then all of the Pinelands Research Series presentations. This was one of those situations where, say, a commission member or a committee member would say, hey, please put that on the website, and we didn't really have a place for it to live. So we would put it on the homepage for a little bit, and after a while it would go away. And then people would say, where did that go? And it went away. So now we have a place where everything can live. So that's better. Also, we created a very exciting new image and video page with the ability to click to enlarge, which we think should be very helpful for people. So these are all photos taken by your staff, and we think these kind of things will be very helpful from an educational standpoint. So people can see what's out there, and they can see all the amazing species that we have here in the Pinelands.
How about the videos, Paul?
Yeah, there's also videos now. We have the ability to embed videos. I'm going to show a video here of a Pine Barrens tree frog. This video was taken by John Bell. So you can go full screen, and all of these live off of YouTube. So it's much easier for us to import these videos now than before. And we know people are going to be using these in classrooms and other applications. And we're really trying to take people to places that they can't ordinarily go. And we think it's really helpful to do that.
I like the one on the hognose snake, Paul. That was.
I hope there's no scared snake people here.
Here we go. Looks like a cobra. Right?
Yeah.
The resolution is really good.
Yeah. All right. So we want to embed and include more of these videos going along. I now have a high-resolution digital video camcorder, so we're going to be shooting all kinds of things. I'm going to be creating new videos, a day in the life of a commissioned scientist, going out in the field and seeing what they do to measure water levels and pond levels. And also, I'd like to do one, I'm trying to make it interesting and funny, on the application process. Oh,
so wow. Anyway, that would be
that's a challenge.
Yes, from a regulatory standpoint.
Can we get on Animal Kingdom?
Exactly.
That's terrific.
So that's a big change. The ability to do click to enlarge, we didn't have that previously. We also have the ability to make all of these images much wider thanks to the new technology. It goes a full 1,000 pixels wide, which helps us to include more interesting photos. So the other thing is we have file and application icon. If people want to get to our development application information, you can get there right away. You don't have to try to look for it. Where is it? We have the ability for people to sign up for our Pinelands news alert list. We have over 600 people on that list now, and this is right off the site, so you don't have to do what we did before, which was just a link that took you to another link, and then you filled that out. And people can sign up and unsubscribe should they want, although I don't know why anyone would do that. They can unsubscribe automatically because it's run through Constant Contact. So that the system operates itself. It's better on us. We don't have to take people off. We get, when people say, please remove me, and I have to go in and then change it, we don't have to do that anymore. We also have here, under our spotlight, we can change all kinds of things here to note special events or different things, such as the calendar of events. The minutes archive, I think, is important. We started archiving approved minutes going back to 2012 for all the committees and the commission. This will be helpful as far as providing people with information that they may ordinarily not have and need to submit an over request to get this information. In many cases, we can say, here it is. And we don't have to fill out forms and go through the whole process and payment and all that. So that's helpful. The other thing is a link to our Facebook page. I don't know how many people have been on our Facebook page. It's another means for us to communicate with the public. Primarily, John Bonnell does work on this and showing, it's almost like his own personal field trip, showing all the different things he does and sees in his travels, including this northern gray tree frog. We now have 1,174 friends, which is kind of remarkable considering, sometimes it feels like we have no friends. Anyway, so that's something that we can do now thanks to the new site, so we're excited about that. Some other features that I think are really helpful include our new fee calculator. So under the fee page, we've created a system with the Office of Information Technology whereby the public can now put in information. Let's say I'm a private applicant, I'm not tax exempt, I want to build residential, I want 2 homes on 2 lots, and then press calculate. Oops, I didn't fill it out. See, you can't just send it without all the information. Right. So then it calculates the fee, $400. So then you press print this page, you include the page with your application, and then it leads to smoother transactions.
That's true.
So there's a little bit of math involved in creating this, which is why I wasn't involved. But but I think it's really helpful to people, and that will hopefully answer some questions going down the line. We included all of our guidance documents, which we recently changed to make them easier to use. They're self-fillable. Instead of having to write them out by hand, which is very archaic, you can now type in your information. That should lead to better transactions because it should be more clear as to who's submitting things. That's better. There are many documents here. What else? Those are the primary changes in the site, and we're going to continue to improve it down the line. We created 3 different versions. This is the desktop version. There's also versions that are specially formatted for tablets, such as iPads, and then your cell phone. I should say we've experienced a few issues with the cell phone version, in particular on some of the iPhones, and I this week submitted a bug report with Apple, and so did the Office of Information Technology. It's not our site, it's how they interpret certain things. So we're trying to get to the bottom of that. But if you wanted to get a sense as to what it looks like, I shot a little video here.
Darcy, you're missing.
I know. I'm looking from afar, though.
Okay.
I'm on my iPad.
Oh, well, then you can pull it yourself. There you go. Not this one. You're right.
Yeah, the sound effects come separately, sorry.
That's true.
Paul, it's working good now on the iPhone.
Okay, good.
When I first went on, the first thing I did, I went to my picture, and Darcy was there. I had a connection with Bruce Jenner at that time.
Nice. Yep. So this is our science staff, this page.
Yeah, that was my one question. Why is it only the science staff?
Well, this was the brainchild of one John Bonnell. He created this. He thought this would be a really cool thing. I agree. This is a good idea. It's the name of the face. And, in the science world, it's really important to show people. And we've done a lot of work on these pages to make them more graphically appealing, to be helpful. I think this map is fantastic. This shows you all the monitoring sites that the science office checks. There are better versions of this. Let me quickly just show you this one here. So when you look from this level, look at all the different monitoring sites. It shows you how far and wide they go. And you can zoom in. So pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Paul, are you going to show the form-based email?
Oh yes, thank you very much. I almost forgot. Thank you for that. So under the Contact the Commission page, you have the ability to use what we call form-based email. So the reason for this is that previously it would just be an email system. Someone would just send us an email and we would get a lot of what they call spam, basically unsolicited email, all kinds. And so you're not sure sometimes whether it's legitimate or not because it will have no subject title, and so we're kind of afraid to open it. It might have a virus, all kinds of reasons. So through this system, it goes through OIT and then comes back to us. And we've already been receiving emails from this system where people have to put in certain information, like their name on the person, and then their email address, you know, and other information that then goes to one of many different addresses. And I like this website.
Math and spelling is not here.
And that's it, thank you. And then we received this, and it's clearly marked in the subject line where it came from when we get the email. So we know it's a legitimate email, we believe, as opposed to the old system. So where that really comes in handy is during for other types of transactions, such as public comment submissions. There's different topics that we can change. So in this case, we put as a dummy CMP amendments. But let's say you're commenting on different ordinances. It'll be listed there which one. So we'll know exactly what people are commenting on now, as opposed to the old way.
So they can do it directly on our website now?
Yes.
Wow.
So also, the application submissions, this is really important as well. You choose your purpose, whether you're reporting a violation, development inquiry, or application specific. We give you the option to put in your application number. We don't expect everyone to know their application number, but we feel if you give them the option to put it in, they're more likely to put it in if you don't ask them for it. Certain things, block and lot. If you have multiple block and lots, it allows you to do that. That's pretty neat. And we think that's really going to be a benefit and lead to smoother communication transactions for us. It's really important. One of the main goals in all of this is to improve our communication with the public, and we think that's really going to happen now. And we're going to learn some things as this goes forward, things we need to tweak a little bit, but that's expected, and we're really proud of it. So. Absolutely. Does anyone have any questions?
Commissioners?
That's
great. It's excellent. It's really excellent. I know the public's going to really respond and love the fact that they can calculate fees before submitting an application. They can submit the application online. They can submit comments online. It's amazing. This really opens up what I thought was already a fairly open process. We've gone quite far, quantum into more open communication. And I love the graphics interface. I agree with you. I think the beauty of the Pinelands is really the essence of this, and to be able to really communicate that now on our website in a very powerful way is wonderful. It's really terrific. So, I just hope to see photos of the rest of the staff.
Yeah.
The science staff got the unfair edge here. We got to get the rest of the staff up there.
And they work fine in my eye.
Good. That's good. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much. Good job. Well done. All right, we're doing public comment now. Is there a sign-in sheet? Okay, we'll take a sign-in sheet. Thank you. Okay, so we'll have signed up. Mark, control.
Thank you. I have two handouts to go along with my presentation. Here's one, send them along, and number two. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to be commenting on the Richland Village redevelopment. What I'm sending you is a picture of the emblem for Richland Village, which is a large oak tree. I'm a state licensed tree expert. That's what I did before I became a scientist, and I'm still duly licensed by the state of New Jersey. And this tree is the oldest tree in town, and it's the centerpiece for Sawmill Park. And what I'm showing you is that, in fact, we've now killed this tree through urbanization. It's plant-people pressures. You're taking an oak tree that is in a pinelands environment. you put in a irrigation system, you lime it, you fertilize it, you put down the longweed chemicals. And the tree that's exquisitely adapted to these Pinelands conditions, just oak trees or a canary in a coal mine, and this tree, which will live to another 400 or 500 years under Pinelands conditions, has now hit the dust. And this is a great allegory for what you're doing through Richland Village with this whole push for sewer service area, for trying to turn us into what I call a water loop. This is the first of 47 Pinelands villages that encompass 24,000 acres, where you're now going to have sewer service and forced growth, basically turning into private growth zones. And Richland has some very interesting things going here. If you turn a page on that tree, one of the people that actually applied, and I was there when she mailed it out, so I have no idea why it was lost, but one of the people that applied for this application, this is the basin that they're using that's flooding her house. That lady that came up, and I brought her here one time, and she spoke with you, and she said the township told you to come here, and you all giggled. No, it wasn't even giggle, you actually a little belly laughed about that. That it was your fault, but it's actually the township's fault. She tried to get some relief here. And you can see on the next couple of pages, I asked you that before you consider this, that you would sort of intimated that you would take care of her problem and her flooding before you did any new permits. Well, here's the bizarre thing. She actually did send in, and she has there the public notices, the certified mail, everything else, and for some reason it didn't show up to you.
I've never seen it. It's addressed to me.
Yeah, I agree. And I had to actually hand deliver it. And the same thing, when you saw your first resolution, the staff told you that there was no applications to the Office of Administrative Law. And I sent in one, and then the day before the hearing, they changed it, and they gave me another opportunity to go. So I sent in a second application with new information on it. And then this third application was sent at the same time, and I was there when she mailed it. Now, for whatever reason, this is, the staff has not shown you, and this is why I got mad on the resolution. I made them change it once, and then I said, well, no, you still have 3 applications to the Office of Administrative Law. There were 3 discrete, separate applications to you. Somehow, this application was divided into 2 parts, and the part that affects her is kept out of this, which I didn't think you could do. I thought that, you know, you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. Somehow this staff has taken this application, and the parts that were hard to deal with, they split it and put it separate so that we couldn't comment. There was no public notice, nothing like that. So it's really bizarre what's happening here. Now, if you go to the second sheet, this is where it actually gets the constitutional law. I believe we have a lawyer. Mr. O'Barry, you're a lawyer. Mr. Lloyd, you're a lawyer. If you look at the front of that page, this is the survey that was submitted by our township engineer sitting here. And I would like to know if this is actually is this a certified survey? The one that's on top of your development application that I showed you, I have it sitting here?
This isn't a hearing.
Okay, well anyway, so this is a 60-foot wide right-of-way that all of a sudden blows out to 80 feet wide when it hits my property. And it's on my property, so what you're doing is you're allowing redevelopment on my property. You're basically taking something that under state statute is illegal. Redevelopment cannot leave a redevelopment zone, and you're now permitting it in the forest area. Not only are you permitting it in the forest area, but as you approved it, and I've actually taken 1931 aerial photo mosaics, and I've overprinted them with the 2002 railroad tracks. I've gone back to the 1895 Pennsylvania Railroad survey, which the engineer himself had used, but not in this case here. And I went back to the 1892 original petition from the Richland and Petersburg Railroad. And this right-of-way was 60 foot wide. All of a sudden does these gerrymanders, and you're actually including my property. So, I mean, what you're doing is, from what I understand from law, going all the way back to King James, going back to the Magna Carta, property rights is your very basic thing. You are allowing, and knowingly allowing, redevelopment, changing my zoning on my property without my permission. And then you deny me Office of Administrative Law. You say I have no standing when you're developing my property. They call it trespass. Even trespass is breaking the law. And what you've done is this is not hypothetical, this was already done back in 2007. This is on my property, and I have no standing. If I have no standing, then nobody has standing when you can take and change my property rights without my permission. Which brings me to my last question here, and Ms. Wittenberg would not answer a question for me. There's a hearing coming up on sewer service area zoning. And what's interesting is that when I saw this in the Burlington Times, I went to their map. And I saw that my property is actually now being turned into sewer service area. I sent out OPA requests to my township, to Land County, to the Pinelands Commission, and there's no record of this. I asked Ms. Wittenberg, and of course she would not put it in writing. She says, no, this isn't true. I've never seen this map before. When I talked to the DEP, it was Mr. Paul Tashenko who sent it. The DEP has no rights to change and do and put in sewer service areas. So now I'm trying to find out for my hearing who put this in there. And I would like, since Ms. Wittenberg wouldn't answer that either when I went to the paper or put it in writing, is it possible to find out now if the Pinelands Commission actually submitted this map that I'm showing you right here with my property being included in sewer service area?
Madam Director.
The map that Mr. Greenfield has was a map made by the Department of Environmental Protection for presentation purposes at the public hearing that they are holding next week. I spoke with the Assistant Commissioner of Water Resources. His name is Dan Kennedy. Some of you might remember him. He assured me that that is a map that DEP made. It does not reflect the actual sewer service area lines. It was made for presentation, so it's a sort of different scale. He also assured me that when they come to the public hearing, they will bring the true shapefile map that we prepared to send to them that shows the sewer service area lines.
So my question is why are we given those maps to review if that's not the case? And I was actually told by the DEP to have it in writing that, in fact, yes, my lot was put under, even in the forest area. And 4 lots were changed that are in sewer service area, on Lake Lenape at least, that should be on there were taken off for some unknown reason. Lots of changes that don't comport to the CMP, to your zoning, and so on. So you're stating now that my property is not in the sewer service area for sure?
Yes.
The answer is yes. The property is not in the sewer service area.
Okay, like I said, I do appreciate that. As far as the application for Richland Village, and we have the engineer here, they show water going across the road with no pipes. They show what appears to be a septic system being retrofitted for a stormwater basin. They have changed the soils, taken Eavesboro's sandy loam upland soils, and at the stroke of a pen have converted them into clay hardpan soils from the lowland in Iowa to make the application work for their stormwater management. When I asked for where are the covenants, the easements, the restrictions, the stormwater maintenance plan for this, they're not in there, and your staff still approves these things. And with this P&I committee, I would like to go over my 30 pages that I submitted as testimony to show you there are multiple problems here. For example, if you look back at that nice little pink thing of the tree here, and you look at the sidewalk that's right there along the road, that sidewalk, that little strip, that 2-foot strip, maybe 18 inches wide, this is where the engineer has certified that there is a 6-foot wide eco-swale that we paid for. And it's physically impossible for that to occur. I'm contending that they claim that they built it, then they said they but they never did. They say they built it, and then the mail truck got stuck in there, and then they took and filled it in, which would take about 25 tandem loads. The problem with that is these sidewalks were built in 3 separate stages, which meant they would have to build the swales, fill them in, built the next section, fill them in, and built the next section.
I hear you, Mr.
So I'm not going to be able to talk at the P&I, and we maybe dovetail to show where I think there's some very big problems with your staff that would look at that survey and see nothing wrong with that survey.
I think we disposed of this already today in the public development applications. You've heard from the staff, heard the staff's position on it, we voted on it. I don't know why you would want to bring it back to P&I now.
Okay, but like I said, you are on my property. You actually okayed a survey that shows redevelopment going out of the Pinelands growth area, and you've now changed the zoning and you're allowing the township to come on my property, which they've already done in 2007. Wow, go back to King James. It's unbelievable. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. Okay, next, Marilyn Miller.
Marilyn Miller from Tom's River. I'm appalled at what I just heard. My personal history, Pine Barrens, started with my deceased husband's family. The story goes that they bought land in the Pinelands. Star Ledger, some newspaper, was giving out lots as an inducement to being a subscriber. And then someone came along, some authority came along, wise decision, I think, and asked people to sell their lots so that they wouldn't build. There's been so many schemes to build in the Pinelands. I like that new website, even though I hate Windows 7. I am thinking about PPA, who has also been encouraging people to go out and see what the Pinelands is all about. When I first started discovering the Pinelands, I thought, ugh. I used to drive by and see all these scrubby trees. When you go inland, and you go out with people like the Outdoor Club of South Jersey, Sierra Club, PPA, you learn a whole different world is out there. And I do encourage everybody on the staff to take off their suits and their shoes, their high heels, and go out and see what it is that you're protecting. It's so important. Nothing is going on in this world, it seems. I hear we're protecting, but I don't see it. I'm going by Route 70 and there's Hovnanian going to build some more of these stupid senior places where I'm renting. We don't need any more. We need to preserve and protect. And with that, subject of history, I'm a member of the PPA, yes, but Monmouth Battlefield, and tomorrow is History Day at Monmouth Battlefield. And that's another area that is being protected. So I encourage people, if they don't have anything better to do, from 11 to 5 tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Mary Ann Clementi.
Thank you, Commissioners. Mary Ann Clementi, Barnegat. First, Paul, you do have lots of friends here.
There you go.
None of what we say in the public is personal. It's business, it's strictly business. And all we're interested in is the health and welfare of the Pinelands. So I encourage everyone not to take what we say personally, because we all, I'm sure, have the same goals in mind. Anyway, that being said, I have 5 short things. Thank you, Chairman Lobauer, on the discussion of the independent consultants, because it was a very healthy conversation. I do hope that you continue that and really look to employ those kind of standards where we have independent consultants doing T&E. Coming from the business world, I have to keep reminding myself what T&E stands for, because in my world it was travel and entertainment. So threatened and endangered species are very important to the Pinelands, and putting the applicants in charge of those kinds of research services and evaluation services is putting the fox in the hen house. So please, please, look to, especially in the, I don't know if it's part of the MOA process, but I think it's so important that we have independent analyses of T&E, not travel entertainment. My second point was, my question was, how many committees are there on the Pinelands Commission? And thanks to Paul's presentation, it's available on the website. But also, are the members of those committees on the website as well?
Yes.
Great. That was my second question. Third is I don't know if you have jurisdiction over this, but Great Adventure is trying to tear down like 90 acres of trees to put in they're going green with the solar farm. And instead of putting it on their parking lot, which is huge and is the perfect application for solar farm, because number one, you put it over the cars, it protects the cars from the sun, and you see a lot of hotels that have done this in their parking lots where they've put these, the solar panels are, they've built the structure. So yes, it costs more money, but as a citizen of planet Earth, like I am, I would think that Great Adventure should do the right thing. And my question to you is, are they part of the Pinelands?
I understand we don't have jurisdiction over that project. It's outside.
Well, I would encourage you to, is it within your purview to develop a resolution and send it to them in favor of this other alternative? I mean, I would think that that's something that you could do as environmentalists and preservationists that might carry some weight with Great Adventure.
I'll tell you, I'm German, and it's always very tempting to me to goose step into the Sudetenland, but I don't think we can do that.
Well, I would check it out anyway. You said I don't think, so that says to me it's not definitive, okay? I don't take no for an answer very easily. You have to prove it to me.
Okay.
I would also add my congratulations once again to Commissioner Jackson. He was an excellent commissioner on this committee, and he'll be sorely missed. We're glad to have him on our side, though.
Yep.
And lastly, the website. The website looks really great. Congratulations on that. And along with the committee members and et cetera, are there email addresses for the commissioners? Because there really isn't any way for us to, and we've heard time and time again from people in the public submitting information to the commissioners, and yet the commissioners don't get to see it because it goes to a general whatever, and the staff decides what you see and what you don't see. So I think it would be helpful to us.
It doesn't get screened, it gets forwarded to us. Yeah.
So there are no individual email addresses?
Well, no, but if you send something here and you're directing it to a commissioner, it will get forwarded to that commissioner. Okay. We'll test it out. I've got plenty.
Okay. Also on the website, is there a listing of like public picnic areas, access to different places that are available? Stuff like that.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, we have listings of the destinations, county parks, state parks, forests, historic sites, trails,
And what's available in all of those, you know,
Yes.
if they're like baseball fields or something like that, or, okay.
Yes, we leave it up to the individual sites to provide that information, but we provide links to it so that they have the most updated information.
Great.
What's available.
That are in the, so there are county parks located within the Pinelands?
Correct.
Great, thank you. I want that for a personal reason, because I want to do a fundraiser for something. Also, when you mentioned about enlarging things, I have, you know, the new thing is the touch screen. Can you take advantage of that technology with this site?
On
enlarging things?
On your iPad, on a tablet.
My computer, not the computer.
Yeah, not the computer. Not
But I have touch screen on my computer.
Oh,
I don't know, maybe.
All right. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Okay. Margaret Meissner Jackson.
Yeah, Margaret Meissner Jackson, Sierra Club, Ocean County. I have been quite critical a lot of times, but basically you're doing a good job trying to protect the Pinelands, which are really, it's a sight to see, really. Now, I work on ocean issues, on water issues, on Barnegat Bay. The question was of whether you were involved or you would come under your jurisdiction about the Great Adventure thing. They're part of the Barnegat Bay estuary, actually. When I had some comments years ago at Jackson Township, they said, no, we're not even close to Barnegat Bay. They don't realize that whatever they do waters down eventually and winds up in the bay or in our waters. Now, I was at, I don't know what goes on in Trenton. I was at Long Beach Island yesterday. The DEP held a meeting there because Sandy had blown sand into what used to be wetlands. And now somebody decided, well, we own that land, we want to build there. They want to build, as far as I know, condominium on the bayside. There was not one person in favor of that. Everybody that spoke yesterday was opposed to it because that whole area is constantly flooded. Even the roads are flooded. But if the average person does not keep up what is coming down, even here in the Pinelands, or whether it's a sewer line, or whether it's building along the shore, you want to know, you want to ask, why don't we ever learn from our mistakes? We're supposed, right? We learned that in the kindergarten when we were about our grandparents. You don't make the same mistake twice. You know, pay attention. But the average person doesn't care, does not know what the Pinelands are for, and that it protects the water, and that we're running out of water. For instance, the DEP had been questioned recently about their, what do you call it, maybe an inventory of all the water supply here, lakes and aquifers and so on. And Commissioner Jackson had said, well, we don't have the money, we're still working on it. This was supposed to be done every 5 years, and it hasn't been done since 1996. So there's so much has to be done in New Jersey. We cannot just build on everything then, because New Jersey is going to collapse. I worked on the with Rutgers on a sea level rise projections, and if they're correct and they assume that a foot of rise, we learned this in school. I think we all learned this in school. Water doesn't just stay this way; it spreads out. And their projection is that probably everything east of Route 9 is going to be underwater. Not from surges, not from anything, just permanent underwater. And so we really need to be active on everything that goes on in this state. Otherwise we'll lose it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fran Brooks.
morning, everybody. Fran Brooks, Tabernacle Township. I just have a couple of comments. One, the website is really much improved, and yes, and thank you to Paul and the staff for working so hard to bring it to the result to fruition. I do have one question about meetings, though, as they appear on the site. There seem to be two places. One is under About, and I think those are the meetings, and correct me, Paul, if I'm wrong, those are the meetings that are that have taken place within the year. And then there was a scrolling, the spotlight area that is scrolling, and I saw that you had archived meetings there. So I'm wondering why, if there's a reason you had to put the meeting category under About and couldn't actually put the more recent meetings, maybe a link to the more recent meetings under the meeting tab. There may be a legitimate reason, I don't know.
Well, it's as simple as this. It's available in two different locations. We left it under About because that's where it was under the other site, so that people don't get lost. So we left it there as well. You can get it from here as well by clicking on meetings. So the reason why we only put up the most recent ones, we don't have agendas yet for these other committees. Once we have them, we're going to put up the most recent ones. So we set that as a placeholder, in case you were wondering, what did they do the last time they met? So that's why we have. It's not archived per se, it's just this is the most updated agenda for that committee. Once we have newer agenda, we post that.
Okay, that made sense. I saw that pretty quickly when I was looking at the site. It was just that I was wondering why the meetings were still under About, and is that
multiple locations, so that you can get it in many different ways. If people were used to the old site, that's where it always lived. Okay. So we didn't want to lose anybody.
Yeah, that makes sense. People get used to things, and it's hard to reorient. I also have a question about the meetings that are taking place with the various groups concerning the pilot project and special events issue. How many meetings, how many groups is the staff meeting with? And who are they specifically?
Moving along, I think at the Ag Committee meeting, we had summarized the groups we had already met with. We met with Pinelands Preservation and Pinelands, New Jersey Conservation Foundation. We met with SADC. We met with Farm Bureau. We met with some county ag people. I think
we have a couple more.
And we're doing more scheduled. We'll meet with DEP.
We're not done.
We're not done. So those, I think that's where we are. We reported at the Ag Committee meeting. At the next Ag Committee, we'll update.
And when do you expect to finish the interviews with those groups?
I don't know if we have a hard finish date, but I mean...
Just an approximation.
I guess over the summer?
Well, hopefully by the next Ag Committee meeting, we'll have met with who we've thought of so far. Doesn't mean we won't come up with others or re-meet, but we're hoping, we're shooting for the next Ag Committee meeting to be able to present to them the issues that have been raised and where we came from.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep. Okay, Lena Smith.
Hi, Lena Smith from Food and Water Watch. We're a national advocacy organization that champions healthy food and clean water for all. And it's my understanding that New Jersey Natural Gas has filed an application to build the Southern Reliability Link pipeline through the portions of the Pinelands. And so I'm here today regarding that application and the process for approving applications, which requires more transparency. It's currently far too hasty, and the public is not given the disclosure to hear about the process. As well as townships where this pipeline is proposed to pass through, like Chesterfield, have passed resolutions calling out the hazards of these pipelines and opposing their construction through their towns. Mind you, these are communities that aren't even located in the Pinelands, but are concerned about how they impact their health and safety and would be risky development decisions. We would like to remind the Commission that it is your duty to preserve and protect the Pinelands, and that the risks that pipelines pose could be catastrophic in a pristine natural reserve. Pipelines are poorly regulated and have a track record of leaking and even exploding, not to mention how the construction process would damage endangered plants that may not be able to regrow. The Kirkwood-Cohansey Aquifer is directly below the Pinelands and has some of the best drinking water in the state. Many municipalities depend on the aquifer for their drinking water. A leak or spill or even explosion could threaten the health of many municipalities that use the aquifer. And so I just would like to continue to urge the commission to oppose the application for the pipeline and protect the Pinelands. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was the first official comment, right, from the public on that. Anyway, there's one other name on the list, but it looks like it may have been scratched out too. Ann Kelly, did you want to speak, Ann Kelly?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate
Right.
what you said. So.
Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's kind of hard sometimes to get your thoughts together. I don't come here with a preconceived thing to say. But I would like to say that it was my honor to serve with the other commissioners, and I think it'll be a time I'll always remember. It was quite humbling, to tell you the truth. But as far as what the public said, I was always for the public. I just happened to sit on the commission, so nothing really has changed except where I sit. The couple of comments, when I heard earlier about the parking lot, are you considering the permeable asphalt, or is there something else?
We haven't got that far about. We just recognize that the lot itself is not in the best condition. It's difficult to navigate, and wanted to start the process of looking into what might be done.
Okay. And something, in just listening while I was sitting there, when Commissioner Ashman was talking about violations and whether they were addressed, and then it was said if debris is asked to be moved, knowing the parameters by which we work, it is somehow that has to be translated to people reading things, because we may not have the ability, okay, we have to move it from here, but if it goes outside the Pinelands, who cares? And it's not that we don't care, but we don't have the ability to monitor that or tell them where they have to put it. So I don't know if that's something in a rule that needs to be made, but it's obvious that something needs to be done with future violators, in the sense, it's better to say I'm sorry and go ahead and do what I want to do, and then come and just lead the commission on for years dealing with violations. If there's something in a rule that you can't get through that says, if you violate after a certain date, we won't receive an application from that town until that violation is meaningfully dealt with. Because there's no downside to keep violating and then say, I'm sorry, at this point. And since I've been here, we've been dealing with that forever. The catch-up, where people know our rules and just choose to violate them because we don't have enforcement powers, or you don't. I have to change the way I put that. But if we're not willing to do the hard pushback on continued violations, I mean, if you look forward, you can see things are already at hand. They're going to get worse. So
that's an interesting suggestion. As you heard, I'm thinking that we should, as the director suggested in her comments to us in that resolution, we should consider that at the NI committee.
Because it's the one way to have a legal basis for throwing up the red flag that no longer are we going to stand for prior violations after a particular date. If they've already been violated and we just find out, that's one thing. But 2014, there should be no more violations knowingly done. That's the point. On the other thing, the website, Paul, great job. It was really, that makes it so much easier to navigate and get where you want to get. So So, and I appreciate the chairman's patience and openness with the public. It's from over here, it's an unbelievable job. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone else from the public that didn't sign up, like saying?
Yes.
Seeing no one, will move on. I understand we have a matter for closed session, and we have recital. Oh, excuse me, interaction.
I just wondered, where are we with wastewater planning? Are those counties done or undone or?
I believe that would be Mrs. Brogan.
You're talking about the sewer service area mapping?
Yeah.
The Department of Environmental Protection is holding a public hearing here next week? The 13th. The 13th to go over the Pinelands counties, the maps for the Pinelands counties. And
So there's a hearing next week.
Yeah, they're holding it here, it's their hearing.
Do you know what the date is?
Yeah, it's May 13th at 10 o'clock. We're hosting the hearing here just as a matter of convenience, but it is a DEP hearing. It's on the revised, corrected sewer service area maps for all 7 Pinelands counties. And then after the hearing, DEP will have to go through its adoption process.
That'll make it much easier to understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, now we have a matter for closed session consideration.
Yes, we usually. Given that the Open Public Meetings Act affords public entities like the Pinelands Commission to go into closed session to discuss matters pertaining to collective bargaining negotiations, and being that there is a need for this commission to go into closed session to discuss collective bargaining, we would like to do so.
Can I hear a motion to go into closed session? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we are in closed session. Public, we can retire.